Yes, hello guys, welcome to another video. I studied over 100 football clubs, and here's a shocking thing I found. I found out that before clubs sign players, they have certain things they do in the background that were actually shocking to me. Normally people just think that clubs just take the phone or an agent can just probably just ring a club and show a particular player, and the club goes, "Oh, we like this player, we're going to sign this player." But that doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I have some notes that I've just written some few tips that I'm going to be also looking for you to guide me so that I can give you really, really good values here. So stick around so that let's all do this together and let you learn the most vital part of this, because it's going to help you as an agent or as a football person. Okay, so many players believe that if they play, for example, like a game or one game, and they have one flashy highlight for maybe 2 minutes sent to clubs, that's all the club will be interested, and then they'll sign them. But in reality, that's not the case. It takes more than that. So let's take, for example, clubs have a structure. You have to know that clubs have structure put in place: scouting, data analysis, background checks, and more before signing a player. This is a business decision when a club signs a player, and not an emotional one. So you understand what I mean by that. So it takes a club is run as a business. Actually, a club is not run as just an emotional thing. So there's a lot of huge there are millions going into clubs that normally for a club to sign a player, it takes not just one person's decision. So it has to be a lot of checks going on, because if you sign the wrong player, which clubs do, then you're going to suffer that, because you give him a long-term contract and you cannot just get rid of him because the contract is binding. So as I said, so just stay put, take a pen and paper so that we can go through this, and I'm going to reveal a life situation or a real life situation at the end of this case, or at the end of this thing, of or at the end of this live video. So normally, many young footballers work only on their technical abilities. Why? They think maybe probably technique is the best thing, is the only thing that gets people going. Of course, it's good to have your technique, that's sure, but you have to also know that it's much more than that. Discipline, mindset, and consistency counts a lot. Yeah. So you have to understand that. Yes, of course, performance is important, but clubs also want to see consistency over time. For example, if you play one game and you don't show up, don't expect clubs to be like running behind you. You have to put a lot of consistent hard work. People need to see you that you're turning up week in, week out, because the reality is football has become such a data driven environment that you need to prove for a long time, and people try to watch you. People try to know a lot of things about you before making pulling that trigger to sign you. So you have to understand that. But one good thing that I learned is, if you have a structure in plan and stay consistent, things are going to happen positively. So let's go. So we also know that performance takes time, and also you have to put in a lot of consistent performance before club look at you. That's it. So you have to have a structure or a plan put in place so that you can go with the performance. So, and you have to know that a bad signing for clubs, the problem is a bad signing for clubs, you lose millions. You lose a lot of, let me say, that player stays in that club. That player doesn't want to move because that player moves has had moved with his family. So for you to sell that player, it takes time. It takes a lot of puzzles to move away before that player moves. So it's not just like, we have made a mistake here, let's cancel his contract. If you do that for 3 or 4 players, you're going to be losing 50 to 100 to something, 100 to 200 millions, for the way players are expensive these days. So that's why when you do a bad signing, it affects your club, because that player now is sitting at your bench. He needs playing time. You need to play him to sell him. And if you keep him, it's a problem. He might also cause, if he's a big player, also he might bring dressing room. So there are many things as strings attached to it. If he's a big player, he's going to bring dressing room unrest because he came like to play, and then you don't play him. So because it doesn't fit the system. So there are a lot of things to this, and that's why clubs take a lot of care before signing player. So let's look at the solution of what I found. So clubs follow a strict and a detailed process before signing anyone, from a physical performance to mental health. All these things have been evaluated. How is his physical performance? How is his mental health? How does he react to the big game situation? Reports and data analysis show everything, how the player is. It's not, before in the days you have just a scout go to scout, you just have a single scout scouting in South America. It doesn't work again like that. That you said, okay, let's take for example Manchester United have a scout in South America and it's one player. I mean, it's a one scout. It doesn't work again this way. These days, there are so many things or many scouts that you have in different parts. Only in, for example, only in South America, and there are people working under the data. Data. There are people working on that different parts just on a player. So before signing a player, you can get 6 or 7 people giving an approval in the scouting department before it goes through, so that they because they are scared that if they get it wrong, then they may lose a lot of money. That's why it's so important that when the scouts even scout the players, they send it again. The manager has to go through it, the sporting director, they have to go through everything. So it's quite big. So first they analyze your performance. All the scouts, they analyze your performance, watch multiple games and live videos of you. They compare your stats to other people in your position. They look patterns that can fit their own system of play. This is how deep it is. So before bringing a player, they don't just say, hey, this guy has produced some wonderful skills, let's bring him. They don't know anything about you and they cannot just sign you based on that. Then after that, you start seeing now the next stage that they start looking for. So I hope you're writing. The next thing they start looking for is the attitude. They dig into attitude, behavior, lifestyle, and even your social media involvement. So these are also huge things that clubs look. So when they look at your attitude, do you have a good attitude? How do you behave so that you don't bring dressing room unrest? How is your lifestyle? How are you a play? Do you go out nightlife too much? That's another thing. And how are you reacting on social media? Are you one of the person who's always on social media, not sleeping? When the manager says something, you try to come and write on social media. Example like a Sancho, good talent. I have to mention that a good talent, but bad character or doesn't know. So you see so those are the things that people try to look into very carefully. So, and sometimes if something doesn't add up, they move on to someone. Let's take for example, if you have a difficult character, they say, oh, let's move on to someone, because one red flag, they say, no, we don't want this kind of situation. So let's look for as an example that many people think that example was wrong, but that okay, of a player called Casemiro who plays for Manchester United. According to my search and also inquiry, it wasn't just a random signing that they just said, okay, let's take for example, we have gone to the market, we haven't seen any defensive midfielder, let's give you the manager this one because he can you manage this because he's a world class player. No, the deal took time. United didn't just look at his ability; they were interested in his experience, leadership, and mentality. If you look at Casemiro, he has leadership qualities, experience, and mentality, and growth mentality, because he has been at the top level for so long, and he was winning multiple Champions League with Real Madrid. So this way, they looked at the team and discovered that the team need leadership. This guy is going to give leadership. The team need experience and big game player mentality. This guy brings it all. But they didn't. What they didn't also look at also is that probably maybe the manager coming in want a certain style of football, but they were willing to say no. Casemiro has been doing it. If he has been doing it for Real Madrid, he can do it for Manchester United because Madrid is the biggest club. And you have to know that they Manchester United already had their scouting reports, data on his performances and off-field observation before they brought him in. And you can see that Casemiro is a super professional, doesn't go out, always indoor, take care of everything. So they were spot on that. But I think most Man United fans will say he didn't fit the system of the manager. So these are the things that clubs look to analyze when they're signing players. You do all the background checks, everything, your personality, your professionalism are just as important as your talent. So this is what clubs usually do round checkup. So guys, so most of you guys who sit and just send me random videos, because a lot of times as an agent, I always try to give advice to most of you guys. I sit, my inbox is always full. Sometimes someone just send me a message with a 5-minute video that I have a good player that is going to be better. He's going, if you look for him a team in Europe, he's going to be very good. At least with this video now, I've given you guys what clubs look into. So being me as an agent, if I want to bring a player to a club, first, if you send me a random video, you have to know that I have to also go to that club to do my due diligence, to look what is the system of play for the club that I'm trying to bring a player to. Do they like a 4-3-3? And the player I'm bringing, let's take for example, if he's a winger, does he fit the system of the coach? Can he play in the pocket? Or is he a winger who just hooks the touchline? Or is he a winger that plays in the pocket? All these things has to mirror the same system of play of the coach. And is he comfortable receiving the ball with his back to goal? All those kind of things. So those are the things that we as agent, we have to also be versed to go and analyze those things, and also then come back and get a specific player, so that when you bring a player who fits the system, the next time the club also wants you to bring another player. So this is how it works in football. It's not just that someone is just skillful and you just send any kind of video that the person should the agent should take and go and sell or show to a club. So it's more than that. So this is one of the things that I had to tell you guys, so that you guys try to look into things and also understand the situation of how scoutings are being done, or how scouts and management is being done at the highest level. So now that you understand a little bit of these details, so I hope you guys can have an idea and also know how to take take your as an agent, take your understanding of the game to the next level. That when you're talking to a club, first, as an agent, if you're listening to this, you have to know that you have to also make your due diligence, go to watch the system of play of a club before presenting a player. See whether if the player is a winger, does he plays well in the pocket, all those kind of things. Those are the things that as an agent you have to do those due diligence. Let's take for example, if I'm having wingers at my and I want to take it to a club that I'm used to. Let's say this is what I'll do. The first thing I'll do is I'll go to that club, watch the training session, watch their games, see who are there, compare them to the player that I have seen. Then I also watch that player live, compare all these people, so that when I come back now, I do my own check and say, is this player really better than what they have got? So that even if I give him there, even if the club accepts, if the player is a bad player, next time they won't give me a green light to accept players. You understand? But if the player is a good player, they'll call me to bring more players. So this is how it happens. So you as an agent, the first thing is you have to be truthful and don't have any emotions when it comes to signing players and everything. So you have to be very strategic and strict with your decision making. So I hope you guys understood this, and I will leave you guys here with all the information. So leave a like, share, comment, and like on anything you learned today, and also leave me a message if you understood something. I'm always here to help you guys. So talk to you tomorrow again. Today was another day, and it's always nice to have this conversation and share my idea on what I'm learning as a football license agent. So take care and talk to you guys. See you. Take care. Ciao.